sounds so gnarly.
It's when you like kind of aren't getting on it, and then it just rips a huge ignition cut and just goes.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at the shop now. Crunch time. Alberto, what's the first thing at hand?
Well, we're gonna put this car on the lift. It's already on the lift, but we're gonna remove the rear subframe and fuel tank because we're gonna be installing all the reinforcement bushings, the reinforcement plates, and we're also gonna weld a couple of things on the car.
Number one thing on E36, I think it's just a BMW thing overall, right? The subframe reinforcements?
Yes, they tend to pull the mounts where the subframe mounts onto and the trailer mount also mount to, and they just rip apart. And the car just gets pretty much total, so we don't want that.
Time lapse, start now. So probably anyone's least favorite thing when it comes to building cars is doing subframe bushings. Everyone has a different method. I think the last ones that we did, we drilled out, and then you can kind of like somehow scrape some of the bushing out, and then you can burn it. This right here is an air chisel that Alberto just got. He said this will make the job a lot easier. We'll see. I've never used one of these before, but we'll figure it out. So one of the things that kind of sucks, like I said, this project isn't supposed to be a pretty show car or anything. While the subframe's out, just to kind of paint it to cover up and fix a little bit of that place where it was scratched so it doesn't rust or anything is a good idea. It just kind of drives me nuts, and I don't want to spend all the time prepping it with all these little imperfections and stuff. In an ideal world, I would sand it or have it sandblasted and then have it powder coated. But we're not going to do that. So I'm going to show you a little trick from the BMX world that we would do with our bikes when you'd be worried about them scratching up with spray paint that hides scratches really, really well. But in the meantime, I'm just hitting this with a torch to make it dry faster. I don't know if this is like a thing that you're not supposed to do, but me and Alberto always do it, and it works really well. It makes the paint dry like 3 times as fast. As we were saying before, very, very, very important thing on these subframe reinforcements. So these are subframe reinforcement plates from Condor Speed Shop. You already saw Alberto doing these two that are these are pretty much done, aren't they?
I did 4, so I did the actual subframe ones. The ones that you are holding are the trailing arm brackets.
Got it.
Those will reinforce the pocket. I literally seen cars that literally just this thing just rips off all these 3 are just welded here, so that braces them all together to the chassis so they won't rip off.
Got it. These are done. Kind of a pain thing to do, but less of a pain than ripping out the subframe.
So it's all like nice and pretty. Then you're just ready for some black paint.
Sweet.
Alright guys, so now before you put the subframe back in the car, you tell Adam to shut up and stop making noises until we get the film. And then you coat the plates with preferred. I like to use VHT. I use chassis and roll bar paint. I'm gonna be using satin black, so it kind of blends in with like the stock undercoating kind of look of the car, and create a nice rust-proof layer for this part, so you don't rust out the car from there.
Alright, so I thought the best way to formally introduce someone new to the channel, not necessarily the most new, but someone new to the team, would be with a customary burnout! I love Johan, he's the best. Alright, so I wanted to take a couple minutes in this video to talk briefly about Johan. I'm super excited to have you here.
What's up, guys?
So, I've known Johan, what, probably like 3 or 4 years?
Yep.
He was actually in the very first video where me and Alberto went to go pick up the 2J for the S13 way back. I think we filmed you with a forklift, was it?
Yeah.
Maybe? But anyway, fast forward, Johan's been helping us a lot lately, especially with the Z stuff. He did the manifolds, the up pipes, the, would you call them, the dump tubes, whatever?
Yeah, normally you call them down pipes, but they're facing up, so yeah.
There's 2 separate up pipes and manifolds, all that, and it helped a bunch with the chaser. Has been staying here super late after his normal job at JD Orlando, but now he's here full time.
Yep.
And I'm pumped.
Like, yep.
So you guys have known each other for a while too, right?
Yeah. So I first met Alberto back in like Pro-Am when I did SWD, and
that was the longest time. I was paying for Marco.
Yeah.
I forgot what year that was. It's been like probably 7 or 8 years by now.
2012, I think it was. Yeah, 2012, 2013. So yeah, I drove SWD on my S13, 2J, you know, basic setup. Yeah, it was just.
You know what's funny? The day that I met him, I got stuck in like a 8 or 10 hour drive back to Florida with him, and then we stopped 3 or 4 times in Bojangles.
Wait, was this the driver you were making fun of Alberto talking on the radio?
Yeah.
That's how
10-4, over and out.
Oh, I'm getting on the left lane, 10-4. Yeah.
Also, another thing you should probably know, everyone knows Trevor on YouTube as like the OG, like stock ECU 2J guy that runs. Johan was like way before Trevor on that. Like, what was your setup back in the day? It was a VVTi 2J, right?
The VTI 2J, which I was probably one of the few first ones to run an S13. Everybody was saying, oh, why? It's not gonna make past this amount of horsepower. I ran on a stock ECU, bigger single turbo, bigger injectors, made 510 on stock ECU.
Sick.
462 torque, and it ripped. It had a smaller back housing, so it was like.
I'm excited. Johan's here to help with all the builds and stuff. He's an awesome fabricator. He's a good friend of ours. He's been a massive help on this already. We just haven't had a proper time to do any sort of introduction because we've been going crazy with doing a million things. So anyway. All right. Hello. Welcome. This is Subframe. What do you think of my paint, Alberto?
It looks pretty good. It looks like some like Japanese blossom thing, but in red.
Alberto is the only person in this world that calls blood splatter paint Japanese cherry blossom, but we'll roll with it.
I show you my headliner. It looks similar to it.
Yeah, Alberto had an S13 back in the day that had very similar headline. We have bushings from Condor Speed Shop. This material is not Delrin. It's not poly. It's somewhere in between, right? The best subframe bushings you'll ever buy. That's what it says.
There you go.
Alright, let's go ahead and install this. You'll notice that it has 2 parts. They're different. This one has a thicker lip on it. This one has a smaller lip. The thick lip goes towards the top. So wait, we have it backwards. So.
No?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing it right. The thick one's on bottom, right?
Yeah, so the thin one on top.
Yeah, I just squished it in with my hand, brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably actually not. Taps in.
Gentle, bro. I just pressed mine with my hands, bro.
That's a fat part.
I know. Just relax.
Damn.
Look at that. Oh, this bottom one I can't do.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna let you just press them all by hand and take all the flex.
Get that one. I get that one, Alberta.
Wait, hold on, I got it.
There you go.
Damn, that was so easy though.
I like the black, red, and white combo. It's kind of cool looking.
Got you. Your boy's got taste.
What's this cherry blossom on the bottom?
You know, that's the top.
But now I know it doesn't have it on the top.
Oh my god, relax. I would be so mad. Alberto told me before. I thought this was the bottom because I don't know much about E36 subframes. I would have been so mad if he was just screwing with me and I spent all the time making the other side nice.
He actually also now was actually messing with him.
Let's see what it's going to look like up there.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
That's sick.
So Shulman's been up here pretty much all day. I think he's what have you been doing up there?
Stupid
He got a steering wheel hub adapter and he's just been
No,
it's been real difficult. It's been a real difficult day.
You're not listening. Ever. You're a liar. Ah! Can I please break this thing, please? God.
That was too funny. Alberto, what's that thing? It's like the whole climate control shit, right?
What?
What is that?
That's here's an AC box.
Heater box.
Heater core box.
Don't need that.
You should weight that too.
What? Weigh?
Yeah.
Yeah, those can be pretty heavy.
So much unneeded wiring.
15, 20 pounds.
Wait, man, that's crazy. Hell yeah.
That's just this section. There's still like all the components for the AC.
Yeah. That's sick.
I'm in the process of removing the factory rubber bushings out of the E36 differential, and then I'm going to replace them with the Nerdtech solid aluminum ones that are gonna not only be stiffer to hold everything together, but it's also gonna be combined with a brace that he also makes for it. So first I'm using a ball joint remover, and I use a nice receiver here, and I use this tool and just literally just twist it and makes the factory bushing come right off like water. There you go.
Super cool. Wow.
Look at this undamaged OEM
Nice
bushing.
and easy.
Alright, so a very, very important part of any drift car. As you guys know, I've dealt with many cooling issues in the past, and this is something that I'm actually familiar with. So this is a tucked radiator from Chase Bays. It's a dual pass design that will make the car run very cool. And if you remember, you may or may not have had this on a car in the past, and it may or may not have kept it very cool, and I may or may not be very sad that that car is no longer with us. But on another note, this radiator is rad because with the JZ you kind of run out of room for proper fans. So this will actually sit underneath the core support. We're about to mount it now, but Chase Bays makes really nice products. A lot of like stuff to make your bay prettier, but also very functional stuff like this. So pretty cool. This radiator comes with the fan tabs already mounted on it. It comes with a giant single Mishimoto race fan that'll bolt up kind of like this. And then we have a few different options depending on what we want to do. If we want to mount the filler neck to the radiator, it'll take a little bit of fab work. If not, we can actually remote locate it with some extra fittings and stuff.
That's sick.
I don't know what we're going to necessarily do yet, but we've got like people everywhere on the car and no one's working on the front of it right now. So I figure if I can start mounting the radiator, start figuring out what we're going to do with the intercooler, trimming the bumper and get that stuff out of the way, that's one last thing. Originally we were going to start trying to get the drivetrain in tonight, but we're waiting on the flywheel. So for now, I'm going to start mocking up the radiator, get that in place, start figuring that stuff out. And then I actually have a cool little kit too that comes from them to make wiring the fans very easy with a nice little relay setup, which just simplifies and takes out a lot of the variables of doing this. Another thing that I just realized, because I'm kind of stupid, kind of cool, reversible design. So you can have it on either side depending on what engine you have in your car. Yeah, that's really cool. I was just stupid and almost did it backwards.
Look at the logo.
Yeah, well no. That's how I knew I was done. So the points that I marked before are good, but we'll want to do those other points again.
I already have this here positioned, so I have the new bushing. I went ahead and put it in the fridge, actually freezer, so it cools it down and shrinks it a little bit, so it's easier to install. Then I have this receiver over here to space it out because it goes a little bit past flush. Then you literally just put this on and drive it in.
Fun fact, we were all reminiscing because I'm holding a drill near a radiator. The last, or I should say the first chase-based radiator I actually punctured, like past the point of repair, trying to drill a hole for the radiator shroud because I was too lazy to take it off. And this one, like I said before, we don't have to worry about that because it's already got them built in. Look at that. Wow. So I'm very careful when I'm starting kind of small, that way if I'm a little bit off in alignment, I can always just make it bigger. I just got metal shavings in your popcorn. I'm sorry, bro. Dude! Wait, I'll tell you if they're still good.
Hey.
Bro.
Bam.
Yo, Johan.
Yo.
I know you'll appreciate this. Alberto will never give me the satisfaction. You know how small I drilled those holes? Look.
Damn.
They both lined up.
Also my markings, no?
It was a combination effort. He did half the markings, I did half the markings.
At least you're on the hole.
I did the drilling, Shulman was there for emotional support. Alright, so one of the biggest pains of doing a cage in a car is when you have to cut up the dash, because it's really just difficult to get the right cut and to try to get it to fit around the cage bars and get it to look nice. Luckily, I had a sacrificial dash that I was able to kind of just cut carelessly to figure out where the cage would exactly land. Sometimes it's hard to guess and check. I wanted to use a hole saw to get a really nice cut. The proper way to do it, we've used a little like air saw type thing, and then kind of like taking a little away, fit it, taking a little away, fit it. But I was able to get this one sorted enough to kind of figure out where the cage would land. And then the black dash that I'm keeping, I was able to, what I like to think is like kind of get it right on the money. If you look at it from here, you can see a little bit better. This side came out really nice. Another thing too is the whole fitting process can scratch the paint on the cage really badly. So it's kind of convenient that we're doing it before the cage gets painted. Haven't totally decided what color I'm gonna do the cage. Probably just gonna do it blue. Originally I want to do it white, but everyone's been telling me that's lame, so I'll probably just do it blue. But if you come over here, this side I kinda messed up a little bit and cut a little bit too much away, but I was able to like put the piece back in there and then I can just glue it. I got a nice little cut out of this, and now we've got a black dash that I'm pretty excited. It looks pretty cool. Came out nice, and now that's one less thing that needs to be done.
Alright guys, moving on to the next step with the rear of the car, we have a new set of brakes for the E36. And right here I have a Nerptec 5x114 brake rotor conversion. So it's a nice template that bolts onto the rotor, and you can drill out these holes to convert it from 120 to 114 bolt pattern, so we can fit the 5x114 wheels that Adam's gonna get for this car. One of the benefits of this kit, you know how it can be a little difficult to find like JDM wheels in 5x120 offset for your European car. With this template, it allows you to drill it out and be able to use 5x114 wheels. We also have the hubs already drilled and tapped for 5x114. These are from Nerptec as well. They're new OEM hubs that he drilled out and sent for us, so we're able to run these really sick parts on the car. The kit is supplied with 2 drill bits, one pilot drill bit and then this other drill bit. So we're gonna first drill these little pilot holes, and then we're gonna follow them through with the bigger drill bit. Once I have the rotor all drilled, I went ahead and used a taper drill bit and taper all the edges just for aesthetics. It's so much pleasing not having a sharp corner on these. You can get that result with one of these guys right here. Now we go ahead and install the rotor onto the hub, line it up, then we secure it in place with the alignment bolt. Now to finish it off, we're gonna be installing a set of Motorsports hardware 90mm stud conversion kit. So we have these really nice studs. These are the same ones that I'm also running on my E36, and we're gonna be running them on Adam's car. So they pretty much screw right in, but before you put them on, you're gonna make sure to apply a dab of Permatex red thread locker to secure them in place. Right now we're prepping the NERPTech weld-on plates for the rear strut tower reinforcement. Johan went ahead and did an outline on how much paint to grind off and clean the area so it's ready for welding. This also includes this very nice pre-bent piece that also braces the side of it, not just the top. So it's all very rigid unit.
We were at the drag strip today, some footage of some super stuff that you guys might not see for a little bit because we're trying to focus on this car right now. Alberto did a really good job filming all that stuff that you may have already seen at this point in the video. I don't know, I'm not the editor anymore, we got Mike for that, Mike. But anyway, one cool piece that you'll see right here, he got the subframe up, all of the crap that I painted yesterday. This is a really cool brace that NERPTech makes. These rear covers, I guess, have a tendency to break, and it just kind of braces it. That way it can handle the power and not explode. Other than that, we got the subframe bushings. This diff, I don't remember what the ratio is. I'm hoping it's somewhere in like the high 3s, but that's that. I wish I was here to experience this, but I think the coolest thing that I didn't even know was a thing. NERPTech makes an adapter kit to run 5x114 hubs on the E36s. So we have 5x114 hubs in the front and the rear, so I can run wheels for my other cars and I don't need to have a whole new array of 5x120 wheels because we have no space for that stuff. So for the time being, for the rear on this car, I'll probably run the same wheels that I've run in the back of like the R32, so just like the white works. And then in the front, we'll have something different. But super, super convenient, really smart thing to do just because 5x120 wheels are annoying. Look how cool these look. That is beautiful. This is like a dual caliper kit. We have the Condor Speed Shop lines too. They make really nice stuff. Stainless upgrades, always sick. Alberto, why do we go with wheel lids on this? That was your call, right?
Oh yeah, just, you want stopping power, you need to be able to hit the E-brake with little 2 fingers. It should go right in. I also got you like very, very low temperature aggressive brake pads to go with it. I forgot what.
But serious question, like on most like dual caliper kits, they're made to use OEM stuff.
OEM stuff, yes.
So why are these wheel lids?
So it's even more aggressive.
Okay, so it's not like you couldn't run. Is there OEM dual caliper kits?
I don't think there are right now. Almost all of them run the dual caliper, their wheel caliper now.
Interesting. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Because these calipers are fairly cheap too, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Alberto just swipes. He doesn't look at the price.
You know how hard it's budgeting for him trying to get deals on everything? Like buying stuff every day?
What budget? What budget?
You do have a budget.
So secretly, I have like a sugar daddy over in the Middle East that pays for all my stuff. I know you guys always wonder like how all these builds come to fruition. That's the secret. His name is Bigger Boost. So we actually chose to reuse the same adapter that was on this car. It's a ZF to JZ adapter, and it utilizes a pretty rad twin disc from Clutch Masters. Before there was just like a cheaper single disc clutch, but we've had really good luck with the Clutch Master stuff. I have the same clutch in my Evo, and then I have the one on the V160 car that I really like. So this should handle up to like 1,000 horsepower, I guess. We're gonna make like 1,100, so. That little baby turbo. But look at this. This is gnarly. Also, kind of common misconception. People always like try to throw the lightest flywheels in drift cars. Super light flywheels in drift cars doesn't really feel that good because you don't have a lot of inertia for the clutch kick. Pat, do you have anything to say about this? To chime in?
Yeah.
You're better at explaining this than me.
Yeah, when you clutch kick with a super light clutch and flywheel setup, it basically doesn't do as much.
when you have a heavier setup, you're really like taking one from the other, because when you have a heavier setup, you're going to get more of a clutch kick out of it and more of the wheels lighting up. But since you're rotating more mass, it's going to like shock the drivetrain a little bit more. But the lighter stuff might be a little easier on the drivetrain, but you're going to have to clutch kick. You can't go like a up. You got to hit it a couple times. Like you hear a lot of like competition, like small displacement turbo guys.
Yep.
When they clutch kick, they don't just give it one. It's, oh no, whoa, 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 or they're half clutching or doing that. But with the heavier setup, you can whomp it one time and it just goes.
What I noticed when I switched to a lighter flywheel on my SR car, I had a hard time because like a long handbrake or something, it falls out of RPM sooner. So on a car like that where you have to keep it up in the revs, and before I had a standard flywheel or a heavier one where I'd be like, it would go and then like drop down to 0 to the point where it would almost stall sometimes. I prefer the little bit heavier weight ones, and in my head I feel like it's less abusive for the drivetrain because you don't need to super high like clutch dump at super high RPM.
Yeah, when you have the light stuff, that's when you have to like come in the clutch, off throttle, brake, and then basically set the car on limiter and just sidestep the clutch.
Which is so hard to modulate.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to get like super technical there, but I feel like that's one thing that like not a lot of people think about, and they always think lighter is better. But for drifting, I mean, yeah, I even like street cars. I kind of like the heavier stuff.
The light flywheels are hard to drive on the street.
But they're sick though for rev matching downshifts on like a low horsepower car. But other than that,
What's that?
so this is kind of different for me. Normally I'd be throwing Brides or Sparkos in one of my cars, but the shop next door, PSI, does a lot of BMW stuff, and they had some sweet pole positions laying around, and they fit me well, and it ruled out one less thing that I had to worry about waiting for. So I got these from them. Pretty light, pretty comfortable.
They look
So
dope.
I shouldn't be like focusing on something like this right now, but I'm trying to think of everything we possibly need to get a car to the dyno, and unfortunately Darren from Titan, who's probably gonna end up doing this, would prefer a seat to sit in. So I'm gonna worry about that real quick. I didn't even realize. We were just looking down at the engine. Shoma goes, bro, did you know about this? Clutchmaster's put my logo on this. That's sick. Got my own flywheel. I guess you can say I'm pretty fly, bro. Remember? I've been really thankful over the past year. I've been fortunate enough to meet up with a lot of companies that have been supporting a lot of the builds. One of them that you guys have been seeing on pretty much all the builds from here on out, Turbo Smart. So we got the same gate that we're running on the other cars, 45 mil, single gate will be more than enough to control what we need to control. Boom. Whew. Probably, I'd assume on this car, since this is gonna only run on Ignite Red, we'll probably do like an 18-pound spring. Sounds good. That we can crank her up to 36 if we need.
Yeah.
Usually you can double it. We've also got their blow-off valve, the same ones that we run on Zeroy. I don't know if we're gonna run a blow-off valve on this build. We'll see. I kind of want to, I know you're not supposed to not run a blow-off valve, but I'm kind of testing with it on my chaser and it sounds really cool.
Spoolie noises.
Yeah, I know.
Spoolie noises.
So the pump that was in the car is same as the factory size, and the DW400 was quite a bit bigger. I was running an issue of like how I would get it to fit, so I just put a little slit down this carrier, whatever it's called, and I'm able to expand it enough to slide this in here, have it fit like OEM, and then I can use these rubber mounts and everything. I'm gonna solder the connections this time for the fuel pump. I know the last time I did the fuel pump connections, I didn't do the best job, so I'm gonna go a little overkill this time.
Over here, we ran into an issue where, as we're setting the engine in, the manifold is hitting this section of the mount. So we'll have to support the engine, remove the mount, modify so it clears, and then we could place the engine where it goes
Properly. Yeah.
properly.
Because right now it's crooked like this. You need to go like this.
Totally.
You can't go anywhere to that space.
Transmission mounts is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely sideways.
Yeah, the transmission mount definitely needs to be straightened.
Setback, but whatever.
Yeah.
So it's hidden right here. So we'll probably notch it in a triangle. So it gives it a little structurally, safe. Then weld it back up, and then that should be enough clearance to clear that running.
It's a bit of an ordeal locking up. Mike, what do you think?
You got quite a bit of cars in here, dude.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mike is gonna have to drive one of the cars home. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry
Unfortunately.
I'm sorry that I have to do that.
Unfortunately, I have to drive a GT350.
Yeah, dude, that sucks, bro. Bro, that sucks. Yeah, so this thing's it's coming along. The goal is tomorrow to get it running. So hopefully in the next video, she'll be running and tuned. Is that
sick?
Is that pop?
That's the goal.
That's the goal. We'll see if it happens. A few little speed bumps here and there. The fuel pump was giving me a pain, and the ears on the trans broke when Johan was mounting them, and little dumb things here and there. But the car is not too far off. I say as I'm looking at a bare shell. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out those new shirts that I mentioned earlier in the video now, and grab one because they're sick. You're sick. See you tomorrow. No, wait. No, I forgot we're not daily anymore. Sorry. See you in one day.
When you say